welcome to Root Awakening TV. Last week we toured a farm called Three Forks Farm. We took you to this farm owned by Alicia and Jared Chinnick, and we checked out their pork products, poultry, and their lamb products. And it was a great tour. We're going to travel a little bit down to Colony Road in Bobcaygeon, and we're going to take you to Kawartha Lakes Honey. Kawartha Lakes Honey is owned by Jerry and Teresa Gerard, and he's known as the local bee guy, and they have been harvesting honey for about 30 years in the local area, and they've got 1,000 hives placed all around Kawartha Lakes. So we're going to take you there. I just want to make sure. Yeah, so we're going to be cooking all things honey today. And when I started the research on this, I was flabbergasted by how many things you can do with honey. I was just overwhelmed with ideas. And I just thought I could make stream after stream on honey. And I'm not going to bake today. You're going to notice we're not baking because I feel like honey is a natural thing to bake with, and those ideas you would be able to substitute your granulated sugar. I wanted to tell you that honey has benefits, and they're beyond just the sweet taste. Honey is known as an antidepressant, an anticonvulsant, and an anti-anxiety. I didn't know this. It also it also prevents memory loss. So besides just tasting good, it's really beneficial for us. The main benefit, of course, is that it's fresh, it tastes good, and it can't be beat. Now, it is primarily sugar, but it's not. It has a vitamin profile that you don't find in granulated sugar, and you don't find this in maple syrup. So it has a vitamin profile that tastes good and is good for you. So it's, sugar tastes good, maple syrup tastes good, honey tastes good and is good for you. All right, so we are going to make a drink. We're going to go to our drink o'clock. But first of all, I want to show you some of the honey that we got at the farm. I'm going to bring it over. The last thing I want to do is drop jars of honey.
The burners.
Yeah, so here we go. We have got some of the honey that Jerry had on. He has so many varieties and so many flavors, and it does come in a lot of different nectars. And when he first started talking to us about the different nectars and about the different honey, we both looked at each other in this interview and thought, well, how do you know? Is Jerry smelling their breath when they come back? Is he checking their little feet and saying, where have you been? And then it dawned on me, of course not. What he's doing is he knows what's in season, and he talked to us about knowing what's in season and knowing what is growing and where the bees are going. So we have here a blueberry honey, and I have a feeling that his hives are on our local blueberry farm, and he has hives there, and then he harvests the honey from there. We have clover. Clover is a really good honey to cook with because it gives your food freshness, and it makes it last longer. We have a canola, and this is the only one that is creamed in his honey hut, the farm store. This is the only one that they do, and he told us it's because this one has a natural propensity to crystallize, so he creams it to prevent that process. And then we have here goldenrod, and you'll notice that the colors change. So between the clover and the goldenrod, you can see there's a color difference. And then we come to the basswood honey, buckwheat. I didn't get a basswood honey. They have it. The buckwheat one, you can see, use this camera if you can. So the buckwheat honey is darker, and Jerry told me that, to taste it, and it's got a sharp taste. It almost tastes like molasses, and then that got me thinking this would be a really good one to substitute maybe the sugar in molasses. You keep the molasses, but substitute the sugar when making a ginger cookie or maybe even a spice cake I can see how easy it is to bake with all of these honeys. But today we're going to cook with them just to give us some experience with cooking. So let me put this aside. We're going to cook with 3 different flavors. That's heavy, and I certainly don't want to drop it. So today we're going to make something called a smash, a honey smash. So it's not like a mead, and if you've had mead, let me know about that, because we were discussing that. I've never had anything like that, but a honey mead, I assume is like a fermented drink that may be like a cross between wine and beer. Maybe you've tasted that. This is called a honey smash, and you don't make it in an individual cocktail, you make it in a pitcher. Now, something I have discovered, that when you put honey into a cocktail, when it hits the ice cubes, of course it goes into a ball of sticky taffy, which is delicious. So what you have to do is warm the honey just a little bit so that it can mix in. We're going to start off with some grapefruit juice. Let me mix so we have all the pulp from the bottom. So we're having some unusually warm weather in Kawartha Lakes. I think a lot of people are. And it doesn't even feel like we're into November. I'm a winter girl, so I am longing for, let's have some snow, let's have some cold, let's get some frost going. I'm going to put in 3 cups of grapefruit juice. And I'm going to put in half a cup of vodka. We did have a vanilla vodka, and I thought about that. We have a grapefruit vodka too, don't we? That would have been very good, but I don't want to overpower the honey. So let her pour. Remember, this is for a large amount of people. What?
Large amount.
Large amount of people. So half a cup goes in here. We might have this for a few days. And this is when I made a 1/4 cup of honey in here. I have the blueberry honey open, but I don't know. I think I want a little deeper. We're going to go with the goldenrod, and I hadn't opened it, so we're going to open that. Or a large jar. Yeah, I'm going to do that over here. Okay, let me just put that there. And obligatory finger lick. Oh man, honey's good. Really good. You know, I used to think honey was honey. No big deal. And then I came to the Kawartha Lakes and I tasted this honey, and it's not even the same animal as the honey you buy that just says honey, the one that's sold in the bear. A sprig of rosemary is going to go in there, and then I'm going to put the juice of 1 lime. I think I can get that in there. Yesterday, I enjoyed the honey so much in it when we were doing yesterdays that I actually put honey right into my cocktail glass. It was delicious. Now, I don't think I put any, oh yeah. Okay, let's give this a stir. So this is called a honey smash. Main ingredient is grapefruit, juice, and some vodka, a little bit of honey, rosemary sprig in there. Yesterday I didn't really taste the rosemary. I think maybe once it sits and mulls a bit. Careful, your honey wants to just land at the bottom. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of honey on my stick. Okay, let's put some in a glass and see. I didn't put ice in the glass. You okay with that? I'm going to top it up with a little club soda. That's my thing. Yeah, a few ice cubes in here would have been nice. There you go. Honey smash. I think I want ice cubes in mine. Did you taste any vodka?
Grapefruit juice.
Okay, you might want to increase that vodka a bit. It's delicious. It's delicious. It just tastes like grapefruit juice. I don't taste anything else. All right, well, that was fun. That was fun. Now see, it's our appetizing. It's going to stay cold. Yeah, that's delicious. Another thing honey can be used for is a topical wound care. I just want to make sure I got all of those benefits. Like, honey's delicious, but it's also a multifaceted thing. And I found out too that, there's so many quotes that I read. I found out that Einstein, I think Jerry makes mention of that, it says there's a real interconnection between bees and humans. And that, we wouldn't die, as some people like to exaggerate, but we wouldn't have a very exciting life diet without bees, because they just keep everything pollinated and everything going. And in the spring, when those dandelions start showing up, yeah, this is hypocritical of me to say, but I'm about to tell you not to kill them, but there's not a dandelion in my lawn. I think I'm just lucky that I'm just lucky that there's no dandelions, but if you see dandelions, leave them be, because the bees need them. So, Kawartha Lakes Honey is located at 465 Colony Road in Bobcaygeon. So it's just a little bit of a drive down from, yes, Treats by Mom. The bees wrap, I think Treats by Mom, Jane, is here, and I think she makes those, and I've been gifted some of those by Bombay. They're really fantastic. Let me show you what those are. So this is a beeswax, and I do think that Treats by Mom sells them at her farmer's market stand. So it is a piece of cloth that is treated with beeswax. And Jerry does talk about, some of the excess materials that he gets other than honey. Jane says she gets it from Jerry, so we know it's good wax. These are fantastic, as you may know, and you can use these over and over. I don't use them to wrap food. I use them to wrap the top of a jar or the top of a dish instead of using cling wrap. So that's another byproduct other than just the stuff that we eat. It's in their honey hut, which is their farm store. You're going to find a lot of varieties of 100% Canadian honey. And Jerry was telling us that he doesn't mix it. He doesn't put cinnamon in it. He doesn't put garlic. He doesn't put rosemary. Some of the things and delicious things you can find, but he doesn't do any of that. He just keeps his honey pure, and he keeps it separated. And he took great pride in telling us that he makes sure if it's goldenrod, if the bees are pollinating goldenrod, that he keeps it separate. If it's clover, whatever it is, he knows, and that's what I was like wondering how he does that, but then I got it after. We are going to take you on the tour that we went on, and we're going to show you what we saw at Kawartha Lakes Honey. Welcome back to our video series, Straight to the Source. Today we're at Kawartha Lakes Honey at 465 Colony Road. We are about to go and meet Jerry, the beekeeper. He's known as the bee guy in Bobcaygeon. Kawartha Lakes has a variety of honey: basswood, clover, alfalfa, creamed honey, comb honey, blueberry honey, and many more that we're about to learn about. Let's go see what he has for us. Hi everybody, we're here with Jerry Gerard. He is a beekeeper in Bobcaygeon, Ontario, and he's known as the bee guy in this area, and he's been doing this for over 25 years.
30 years
30 years now. He started off with about 5 hives. Lately, I've heard he's got about 600 hives.
1,000.
1,000 hives. Okay, my information is outdated. We're here to find out what is the process of honey making, what other products do we get from bees, and where do you find it? So how do you become a beekeeper? What makes somebody want to do this? And tell us about that travel along.
Well, I was the kid in school that would always show up to school with frogs and snakes and stuff like that. So I've always been attuned to nature, and although I never had any plans on becoming a beekeeper when I was younger, I was working in a factory and wanted to find some way out of the factory. And a guy I was working with, his grandfather was selling 5 hives. I made an offer, bought those 5 hives, and after a year of keeping those bees, I thought this would be a great way to live, a great way to make a living if I could do it.
So you learned on the job. You didn't take any special, you didn't have consultation. You
I was speaking to some older, knowledgeable beekeepers, and I learned a lot from them. Now there is a lot of courses that you can take through the Ontario Beekeepers Association, University of Guelph, really good beekeeping courses, and a lot of people are getting into beekeeping.
So this Bobcaygeon area, from what I've seen, there are a few beekeepers and there are a few honey farms. Why does this area become so popular for that? What do we offer in Bobcaygeon or the Kawartha Lakes that is so proficient for beekeeping?
It's not just this area. Globally, more and more people are getting into beekeeping because they listen to media reports and they see that the bees are in trouble and they want to help.
What does that mean they're in trouble? What's happening?
We're losing a lot of beehives every year globally. Last year here in Ontario, we had 60% losses. I lost 400 hives last year. I know other beekeepers lost thousands of hives.
Is that because of pesticides? Is that kind of use?
Pesticides certainly play a role, as does varroa mites, and there's a lot of other pest pathogens and diseases that plague the bees. But I would rank pesticides and varroa mites as being the 2 primary causes. People say that Albert Einstein said that if bees died, humans would follow within 4 years. I don't believe Einstein wasn't the first guy to say that. However, he did repeat it, and I'm not sure how much truth there is to that. I think humans would continue to survive. We just wouldn't have a very exciting diet.
You've told me stories about how beekeepers have this sophisticated community and this hierarchy. Is that too large of a subject to talk about?
Well, I don't know how sophisticated we are, but
No, the bees.
the bees
Yeah,
themselves.
What does a hive operate like?
Well, we have to think of every hive as being a superorganism. We can't look at the hive as a bunch of individuals, because all the individuals within a hive work together as a superorganism. There are 3 castes of bees in the hive: the queen, the drones, and the workers. The workers do all the work. They raise the brood, they do all the foraging, collect the honey, the pollen, all the house cleaning, they look after the queen, the larvae, they do everything. The drones are the male bee. They do nothing. They laze around, they eat honey. Their only job is to mate with the queen, should they be so lucky or unlucky.
Or the chosen one.
Yeah, and I say unlucky because if they do mate with the queen, they die in doing so. And if they don't mate with the queen, well, they get kicked out of the hive in the fall and they die on the front doorstep of exposure. And the queen, she's just basically an egg-laying machine. Although we call her the queen, she doesn't make any decisions. All the decisions within the hive are a group decision. The queens will lay up to 2,000 eggs a day during the summer. She is responsible for producing certain pheromones and chemical signatures that tell the rest of the bees in the hive that everything is okay. And then they decide what to do or the different courses of action they're going to take based on the chemical profiles that are within the hive. The bees will swarm if they feel too crowded. This is actually what they shoot for. They want to become a big, strong hive with a large population so that they can swarm and reproduce the species. When they do reach that level and decide to swarm, the queen will leave with half the bees. They'll cluster in a tree while they send out scouts to look for a new place to live, whether it's a hollow tree or an empty hive.
I just read recently that the beekeeper's not caring for, they're not keeping the bees, that the bees are showing you how to keep them.
Well, that's a loaded question.
Would they exist and would they do what they do if you didn't manage them?
They would for a certain amount of time, but Given, well, this parasite, the varroa mite that we've talked about, and various other pests and pathogens and diseases, we've reached a point in time where, for example, if the bees feel crowded and they swarm, the queen leaves with half the bees and they find an empty hollow tree to go live in, they can live there for years, but sooner or later the varroa mites will infest them, take over, and kill them off. Without a beekeeper's intervention, sooner or later the bees are going to die.
Because it's a food source for them.
For the varroa mites,
Yes.
yeah, they actually feed on the bees. They will.
Oh, they eat the bees, not so much the honey.
They puncture the bees' exoskeleton. They actually suck the fat out of the bees' bodies.
Oh, wow, that's brutal.
And then they get in the larva, and that's where they reproduce, is on the honeybee larva, and yeah, and that can, and they kill the bees by vectoring diseases into the beehive colony.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, one of your honeys, blueberry, it's delicious, and I didn't know what to expect. I loved it. Is that actually they're pollinating blueberries?
That's correct. Yep, they're on a blueberry farm.
You don't taste blueberry.
No.
But it has a really...
Well, the same as if they work on apple trees, the honey doesn't taste like apples, or if they...
but it has a distinct flavor.
Yeah, every flower that produces nectar, the resultant honey will have its own unique flavor.
So
This is my indoor wintering facility.
So are there...
These boxes has bees in it.
And there's a temperature control in here, I can tell.
Yes. This is primarily designed for housing the bees during the winter. However, we do have bees in here now during the summer because this helps us when we're raising queens.
And what is happening here? What is...
Well, these are small hives, and they haven't had all summer to store honey, so we do have to feed them sugar syrup so that they have something to eat over the winter, and that's what these bottles are.
How many would be living in here?
There's 240 hives in here.
Oh my God. And okay, so they are creating honey.
No, they cannot create honey unless there's flowers producing nectar.
Oh, so this syrup doesn't do that. They're just being protected so that they can go back out.
This sugar is a replacement for the honey that they cannot collect right now. Right now, we're end of October. There's no flowers left producing nectar, so they would just starve to death if we did not feed them sugar syrup. If we were to leave these are like a small baby colony, think of it that way. If we were to leave them outside over the winter, they would perish. They never go dormant. They slow down. The colder the temperature, the more they slow down and their movements. But they will cluster together over the winter, and that cluster of bees will move around within a hive, whether it's inside or outside, and they will consume the resources that they have. And in the middle of winter, they will start raising brood, like in January.
At what point will you take these hives and put them back outside? What point in the season?
In the spring, in
spring.
April probably, yeah.
And then they go into the bigger...
Into full-size equipment in one of my out yards, and then, yeah, we'll let them grow up into a big, strong colony. Everything that happens is so dependent on the weather. Ideally, with the weather, if the weather cooperates and the bees are strong enough, we'll be collecting dandelion honey from these bees by the end of May.
Is that good honey?
It's gaining a lot more popularity. So yeah, all the different flowers bloom in succession throughout the season, and the bees will work on whatever flowers are producing nectar at a given time. Dandelion is the first primary nectar source for the bees in the spring, and much needed after a long winter where they haven't been able to collect anything, and their stores have probably been depleted over the winter. So dandelion's hugely important, but recently it's been proven that dandelion honey has a nutritional value and medicinal properties that is equal to or better than the Manuka honey from New Zealand that everybody knows has those properties. This facility here, University of Guelph, has taken interest. And Susan Chan got some grant money to study this as a facility. It's study the feeder system I designed, and so Susan and a couple PhD students are going to be collecting data. Yeah, this is the outside of the trailer we were just in.
Oh, I see. Okay,
so all those bees that are in there can come and go as they please. There's a little opening there that they can come in and out, as they desire.
So in the wintertime, though, do they desire to go?
On a nice warm winter day, they may fly
sun's
out and
high.
have what we refer to as cleansing flights.
Oh, that, I thought they were just like in there, and I wondered how do they not want out, but. So University of Guelph is my alma mater, so I find that interesting that.
University of Guelph has some of the best beekeeping programs on the planet.
I bet.
Products that come from the hive, honey being the primary one, of course. During the extraction process, we end up with some beeswax as well, which can be used for candles or lip balm, skin creams, waterproofing agents used in woodworking, metalworking.
Does all of that product that you collect, I know your honey is farm-wide, but the other products that you collect, does it stay local, or is it used in other communities, or do people purchase that from you to?
Yeah, we do sell beeswax as well. We also at times collect and sell pollen. We also collect and sell propolis, another product from the hive. So yeah, everything from the hive has value financially as well as medicinally, or
So my viewer is sitting in Toronto and wondering where they can find your product.
Uxbridge, Newmarket. I'm small commercial, so I haven't tapped into the Toronto market. I'm just now starting to tap into the Peterborough and Lindsay markets.
But now, Alicia from Three Forks Farm, she takes her things to the Eglinton Way market and she carries your product. So if they wanted to and they're ordering meat from her, they could also tag on with some of your delicious honey.
They probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people that buy my honey and take it to other venues for resale. I do go to great lengths to keep the different varieties separate from each other, and that seems to be the big appeal. People want to try different honeys. They want to compare a dandelion honey to a basswood honey to a buckwheat honey. And
I've tried the basswood.
Yes.
And that's not my favorite. I've tried the clover. It's absolutely my favorite. And then the blueberry one topped that.
The varieties of honey, they're so different from each other. And every flower that the bees collect nectar from makes a different color, different flavor of honey, and you want to use different honeys for different things, for different recipes. And it's interesting that you're not a fan of basswood, because 90% of the people out there think basswood or linden honey is one of the best honeys that's out there.
Really?
Always judge honey by its color. The darker the color, the stronger the flavor. But yeah, there's a demand for the terroir of honey. People want to try honey that's made from different flowers and experience the different characteristics that it has. The flavors can be dramatically different.
They can be. I've noticed that it's not just honey. They all have a distinct flavor. I've also...
they're putting it in shampoos and skin creams and lip balms, and it's everywhere now.
I've heard young moms say that they use it as an elixir.
Well, you're not supposed to feed honey to infants under a year of age. Their digestive systems have not developed enough where they can handle the naturally occurring spores. So we don't recommend that people feed it to infants.
I smell the honeycomb. I can smell the wax when I'm in here. All right, so let's just go through a few of these. So Jerry told us that you judge honey by its color. So if you look at the goldenrod, how dark that is. I don't think I've tried that one. And you can see clover, basswood. It's a little bit lighter. And the canola. Is that the one that you would say is cream?
It is creamed because canola honey crystallizes so quickly on its own. We sell it in crystallized form.
And something you've said is you don't mix any flavor, so you don't do a cinnamon, you don't do any...
We will blend honeys together, but we do not add any extra stuff. So if you want cinnamon honey, you're going to have to sprinkle your own cinnamon in there. If you want garlic honey or anything in your honey, you have to do that. I'm not going to put anything foreign into my honeys.
I appreciate that because it is already really good. Where can the consumer purchase this? Grocery stores, farmers markets, where are you at?
Well, I'm 10 minutes south of Bobcaygeon, and you can come and visit me at the honey house and get your honey here. However, call first, because often we're out working with the bees and we're not here, so you have to make an appointment.
Okay.
Other than that, it is in the Foodland and independent stores in Bobcaygeon. Sobeys, Joanne's Farm Boy in Peterborough, Burns Bulk Food and Farmers Butcher Shop in Lindsay.
I've seen it out in Lakefield too.
Yeah, Leahy Farmers Market, they have it. I'm at the Bobcaygeon Farmers Market every Saturday morning through the summer months. Every Kawartha dairy store carries my honey as well. Lots of local mom and pop shops and bulk food stores carry it as well.
And I know that Alicia carries it in her farm store and that she has it on her website, so it's available through Three Forks Farm. Well, I really thank you for taking us on this tour. Today was really educational, and this stuff is delicious.
I have customers, they'll come and they'll buy 700 pounds of honey, and that's their sugar supply for the year.
Really?
Yeah.
And there you have it. How exciting was that? Such beautiful shots. Jerry knows the bees, he knows his business. So, yeah, you saw some of those old cans. You know, I went down memory lane looking at some of those cans because I saw those as a kid, how we used to buy honey. And Speakeasy Channel. You mentioned, I shouldn't be swinging my knife, you mentioned that nobody was seeming to be strung out about the bees. Something we both talked about before going, and something that we've learned about touring farms is that we are interacting with the animals in a way that there's equipment and there's strangers and there's camera. So we have really worked at being as discreet as we can. And we talked about the bee farm, you know, don't swat at anything, don't get nervous about anything. But, you know, if you stayed calm, and the bees were around us, but at no time did I ever feel like I wanted to swat away. We were in their territory, so we just really laid low on the swatting or the knee-jerk reactions. Today we're going to be cooking with honey, and we're going to be using what you saw in that video, goldenrod. Today we're going to be making a honey garlic chicken. It's not new, and it's pretty standard, but what I want to show you today is us using the Kawartha Lakes Honey and how there's nothing else in it. Use free rein with this. You can add ginger, you can add any vegetables. I'm showing you a base recipe and you take it from here with your own intuition. I'm dicing, I am cutting up about 4 pounds of boneless chicken breast. So I started while the video was on. I'm making these little chunks. Speaking of honey, my Bo is here today. My grandson is on today, and that's my honey boy. So hello to Bowden. So we're going to cut these up in chunks, and we're going to be putting a little bit of olive oil in our pan. Okay, I've got my saute pan on high, and I have about 2 tablespoons of oil. I think I'm going to put a couple tablespoons more, and we're going to do a little bit of garlic. I'm going to get a new knife. I don't even want to use the knife that I used for the chicken. This is garlic from Merkaba Acres that we toured a few weeks back. There is another farm. There's a few farms in the works. There's a series of farms coming up. Next week, we're going to take a little different approach to our stream. We're going to be doing a mobile stream from Whitewood's home in Amherstburg, and that is giving a live cooking class at the same time as streaming to you. So, whoops, I just threw that on the floor and I didn't mean to. That live cooking class is going to be fun, but it's also going to be fun to share that with you. So next week, if you could log on and come and share that with me. Okay, let's just mince up as fine as you can. This is a large garlic. clove. That's good. It's called honey garlic chicken. Okay, I can smell my oil. Let's put the garlic in. If it's too hot, we'll have to remove it. That's nice. All right, one large clove of garlic. Put in as much as your taste want. And then we're going to put our chicken in to just cook a little bit. Not completely. I can smell the garlic. It's nice with the chicken. You could use thighs as well if you wanted to. I like the chicken breast. I find that there's no waste. And this is about 4 large boneless, skinless chicken breasts. This is from Three Forks Farm again. Okay, I'm just going to brown it a bit. Just about a minute. You don't want to overcook this. You know what happens to chicken? It doesn't get more tender like beef, it just gets tough. We're cooking a traditional Christmas pudding, and we're going to show how to make a steamed Christmas pudding. It's a 14th century recipe that's completely gone on from generation to generation. And, you know, we've tweaked it. Why do I always say we've twerked it? We've tweaked the recipe a little bit. It is my grandmother's recipe. We're also going to be making a bourbon caramel sauce and a rum sauce to go on the Christmas pudding. I think it's going to be a really fun thing because it's Christmassy to work that recipe. Why do I always say that instead of tweak? So I'm trying to get this to cook up. You know, it's not like using your own stovetop. It's always frustrating. Okay, let's put the lid on that and let it brown just a little bit. Just a little bit. I only need about a minute. In the meantime, we're also making an appetizer today. And this appetizer, how much rum? Well, if it was my grandmother's recipe, it's as much rum as you can simply tolerate. This 600 gram of brie is going to be an appetizer that you will use if you're American and you're having your Thanksgiving celebration or for Christmas coming up, a Christmas party, something like that. This is simple. It's delicious. Okay, I'm going to take it out of the package. I got this at Costco and I paid a pretty good price for it. I looked at it at different stores, and 600 gram brie, I only paid $10.99 for that, and I thought that was a really good deal. So I am going to be doing that later. I just wanted to open it up while this is cooking. Let's see how our chicken is doing. Allison, you missed our grapefruit smash. It's grapefruit, vodka, a little bit of rosemary, and honey, and you just mix that up. And when you need more, you put it here and you get more. It's not made in an individual drink. It's made in a jug like this. It's delicious. Now, we put a 1/4 cup of vodka in this whole thing, and that's just us keeping it real. You could put more, but you know, it's noon. It's noon. I hope everybody moved their clocks back. Obviously, you found me at the right time. Is it delicious? Grapefruit and honey and booze sounds ideal. With that rosemary, very ideal. It's delicious. I'm not supposed to say that word anymore. All right, that's about a minute. It's not done. You can see there's still a little bit of pink. We're going to remove this, set it aside, and we're going to start adding the other ingredients. Now, what you needed to do at the beginning is you needed to take, and the recipe is coming up, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of cold water. I'm going to wing that as a tablespoon. And you're just going to make a little slurry. Yep, recipe's fine. So I'm making that little slurry, and I'm going to set that aside. You know what we're going to do with that. We're going to thicken that. And now in the pan, chicken has been removed. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of honey. Now, I would prefer to do that not on the heat because I don't want to scorch the honey. So I'm going to remove it.
You're getting slurry.
Slurry, you like the word slurry. I love that word.
You're getting slurry.
I'm not getting slurry. It's delicious though. All right, we do have a game today, And the Speakeasy crew should recognize the mystery chef. Don't play it yet. Okay, you're close to it? Okay, 3 tablespoons of honey in here. I am using goldenrod, and that's the one, I think I pointed it out on Jerry's shelf. It's really nice. I think it's a mix, like the clover's nice to bake. The buckwheat is a really nice dark one to cook with. Or maybe, like I said, bake in place of molasses, but this goldenrod seems to check all the boxes. All right, I've got 3 tablespoons of honey. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of soy sauce into it. I think I can return it now. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I buy the gluten-free. You know, I think a lot of people might want that. So I've got that in there. We're going to then put, salt and pepper. Do you put salt and pepper in when you use soy sauce? I hesitate. I'm going to put some pepper in there. I have put on my Christmas list, my wish list, electric pepper and salt and pepper shaker. Okay, so now I'm going to put in my vegetables. I have got 2 peppers and I've got some snow peas. Now again, you could put in, oh, you know what else I do have? I've got broccoli. All right, we're going to be putting in broccoli. I'm going to dice it up a little bit. Grind pepper. Yeah, Alexa. Oh, she just came on. Well, why did I do that? And let's, give a little bit of kudos to Tom on the shots of the videos. I've discovered that he has a little bit of a knack for filming. Who knew? I've just discovered using Bragg's liquid instead of soy sauce. Ah, is that a Canadian product? I don't know what that is. Teach me, teach me. All right, I am going to now put in my peppers. That's how I peel them. I cut the tops off. You don't have to. I mean, it's a little wasteful, but I save that little thing. All right, I like to use a different color pepper because it gives you that color. And then I like to make, let's see if I can show you this on here. I like to make strips. Now, my culinary professor has given up on me holding the bolster of my knife. That's how I do it, and it works for me. I mean, handles here, bolsters here. I hold the bolster. It gives me control, and that's where my comfort zone is, even though I did cut myself last week doing just that. All right, look at how pretty it looks. You can see the peppers give it so much color. Oh, maybe Joann's, yes, in Peterborough. Maybe they have it. They do have a lot. I never get there, and they might. It's something they just might have. They have a large amount of organic food, supplements, vegan products, gluten-free products. It's really a nice store, and I fail to go there very often. I have put in peppers, snow peas. We're going to make sure that the honey soy sauce at the bottom is coating everything. If you're a cook, you fancy yourself a cook, what else would you put in this? What else would you put in my honey garlic chicken ginger? Garlic's in it. I like the ginger idea. You could. I have it in my fridge, and it would really be nice. I just want the honey. I don't even quite think, I'm a pretty needy, sweet girl. I think I'm going to put a little bit more honey. Like, I did put 3 tablespoons. I'm not digging that. I'm thinking I want 4. All right, let's stir that up. Now, let's just double check. Yeah. I'm going to now return the chicken and continue to cook it and make sure it gets coated. And the moment you've been waiting for is we're getting close to the slurry. All right, let's stir that over, make sure that it is, this looks like lunch is going to slap around here. Let's make sure that it is all fold it over and that you have the honey and soy sauce mixed. We're going to leave this cook a little bit because it needs, before I get slurried, I need to get that cooking. We're going to go on to our appetizer. I will bring back the slurry. We're going to go on to our appetizer because I need to do that. So, for some reason my camera's not showing my board. What I'm going to do is, I took the cover off, the rind is still on. No, we're not making spring rolls. We are making a cranberry pecan brie appetizer. First thing I need to do, a slapatizer. First thing I need to do is put this in the oven. My oven's at 350 for 12 to 15 minutes. Right. Hey, Thistle and Oak is rating. Yay! Welcome. Can I just tell you, Thistle and Oak is here. Today we're doing all things honey. I know, I've started following Thistle and Oak. And, sorry, I just hit my microphone. I've started following Thistle and Oak, and if you want a really fun cooking show, young like my chat is, funny, musicians, all that stuff. If you want to watch a really good stream, and they make some fantastic food, they're you, chat, they're you. And what I love about it is they think I'm cute. And every time I go on, they say that, oh, she's so cute. And I don't know. I guess I'm cute. Hey, Wonder Boy. Is it Wonder Boy? Yes, Wonder Boy. We see each other on the chat. Chat's funny. Stream is funny. Good cooks. And just very cool people. Really cool people. She thinks I'm cute, just like the reindeer. I know. I think it's Lindsay is one of the little chef. And Lindsay thinks I'm cute, if that's the right name. So we're making a honey garlic chicken because we did a honey farm tour and we're using their honey to cook with today. Big Raid, thank you so much for coming over. I was hoping you would today. I love to go on your streams because for one thing, they are 1 hour before me and they're streaming from the US and it's sunny there and it's just a really fun stream. Yeah, both thinks I'm cute. That's fun. So they stream an hour before me. They stream at 11, and usually on Sunday they're making some fantastic kind of burger. Thank you, I am cute. And sometimes I think, is it a Friday night I was on your stream? And, just good food. I think that was the night you were making chicken and dumplings. Love it. Hey, welcome everybody. So happy to see you here. So we're making this honey garlic, and my producer, who's like fascinated over there, lost track, is going to show you this camera. Okay, I've got some action on this. This is a honey garlic chicken, and you're gonna say, oh yeah, but I think it could use a little bit more soy sauce. But right now, everybody ready for the slurry? We're not slurring, we're just gonna put the slurry. You know what, we had this great big house at one point where it was all open concept and the rooms were all open. And even if somebody stormed off to their room, I could see you. I could see you from the kitchen. It didn't matter. Thistle and Oak, people who have rated Speakeasy Channel and Mobo Reno are my daughters. They're grown and flown. And I have 1.2 grandchildren. So life is good. All right, I put that little bit of slurry in there. That should thicken it up.
Please, you ask me where you're from?
Where am I from? We are streaming from Ontario, Canada. We're in central Ontario. The general area is called the Kawartha Lakes. So we are starting to feel some of the cold winter weather, although it's an unusually warm fall so far. Okay, I'm adding a little bit more soy sauce because I think this looks a little bit pale. Now we're used to, of course, that store-bought one that's going to have that red sauce or something. Ick. In California. Yeah, and I think Thistle and Oak is streaming from Tennessee, which is really a cool thing. That's the cool thing about Twitch. You can go on there any time of the day, and I can find another cook with the same mind skills, no, not same mind skills. I can find another cook with like-minded and enjoying cooking and enjoying streaming, the two things that we enjoy doing. All right, do you see this, producer? You see this, it's not pink, it's not yucky or red, it's just really nice food. So I'm gonna turn the heat down and I'm gonna let that, I'm not covering it though, because if you cover it, you're going to lose the thick, you're going to get, your slurry is going to break down. And if your slurry breaks down, you're not going to have that thick sauce. So I'm letting it heat, but I'm letting it vent as well. Now let's go back to our appetizer. So while we're doing that, we didn't put a camera on this one, did we? Okay, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to switch this to the stove in the kitchen, still venting it, let that cook. We're going to start, see the difference between induction? It's immediate. I'm going to turn it down to a medium heat. All right, I'm going back into the oven and I'm going to be sprinkling a 1/4 cup of brown sugar onto that brie. Come on with me. Okay, now I put the brown sugar on the brie. I can smell the brie starting to warm up. We're not cooking it at all. We're just heating it through. And that is going to just melt on there. But in the meantime, we're going to start a little bit of a drizzle. So let's get that together. In our brie drizzle, and you can make this, next root investment, heat proof inside the oven cam. I know, what type of cheese is that? That was a 600 gram wheel of brie. 600 gram would be about 1.25 pounds. All right, so let's go on to, wait a minute. While I'm cleaning up a little and gaining a little bit, let's play oven cam would be the next level. Okay, listen, I've had enough of support. I'm doing oven cam next. We're going to Googling and investing in that next.
Ready?
Yes, listen, this is called Who Dis. It's going to be a chef right here. Who dis? Come on, you know this speakeasy. This person, this chef appeared on your stream. Yes. Hey, it's an organic guest too. It's not even speakeasy. I'm drinking a mimosa. Very nice. Okay, so we have a giveaway and we're drawing it on December 18th. It's for a Ninja air fryer. And you just entered, what is it, Pops Cockles. It just entered because that's all you had to do was guess. Yes, it's Chef Boyardee. Do we call this person a chef? Pops. Okay, do we call this person a chef? I am adding 4 tablespoons of honey. Yep, this is it. This is real. So you want to go in this camera, please? Yeah. So I have 1/4 pound of butter in there, not a trip to the gym, and 4 tablespoons of goldenrod honey. I could have used the darker one. Yes, I thought I would, like the molasses one, but this jar is open. Let's get this going. Just incorporate the butter and the honey, and then we're going to be putting in a little bit of cinnamon. Not too much cinnamon. You don't want it to dominate. About 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. It's a Thanksgiving, so I know that some of the people who just came from Thistle and Oak are U.S. citizens, and Crescenter, yes. They are going to be having Thanksgiving coming up. Well, we just know it is the day before Black Friday. They've got a Thanksgiving coming up. This would be a really nice appetizer on your Thanksgiving table. I use a clementine. The reason I do that is because that smells like festive holiday. That smells like Christmas. It smells like Thanksgiving. That's different than an orange. Let's put that into it. So I'm going to squeeze the juice. Whoops. Squeeze the juice of 1 clementine. I just put in a 1/4 cup of cranberries and maybe about 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. And now I need to turn this right up. Right up.
Takes so long to warm up.
Yeah, this thing's a little bit on the weak side. Let's let that cook for a bit. And I think it's time that I can plate up my chicken. Now, if you're a cook, or you fancy yourself a cook, and you're on here, have you ever tried to make rice? I love pecans, so do I. And they're a little high in fat, but it's good fat. So if you've tried to cook rice ahead, it doesn't work so great. So I tried something. I cooked my rice ahead. Is that vodka neat? And, you know, it goes a little bit dry, but here's what they said to do when I Googled this is just a little bit of water. What do you think? And then stir it all up. And I also think, yeah, it is loosening, but I also think a little bit of olive oil would be nice. And I undercooked it slightly. Uh-oh, the word vodka came up. So, yes, lunch is going to slap. So I'm just placing this on my platter. This is, you know, how to cook rice might be a reel that we have to put up. All right, let's put our chicken. Okay. Oh, here we go. We've got some action now on our topping for our brie. Okay, we are just going to place this on top of the rice. You know that as soon as the stream is done, we don't even clean up. We just smash this. So our Sunday streams, we have just decided we don't eat breakfast, and then we do this. All right, spread that out onto it. And then when you get towards the end, I'm going to take this off. That's looking real good. If you want to go on that camera for 1 second. Yeah. I'm just making that pecan cranberry topping, and it's a little bit glazed. I'm trying to get it a little bit caramelized. Okay, very nice. And we're going to put a little bit of the juice on now. I don't do it all at once because I don't want just too much juice. Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, look at this. This is delicious. Let's set that aside. I'm going to wipe my counter off and get my brie out. It should be ready because I doubt anybody watched the time. All right, let's go get the brie. I can shut my oven off. I can smell it. Very nice. Now, I want you to know that the brown sugar, I got to shut my oven, I know. The brown sugar didn't melt. That's your job, Connie. I see. You've been hanging around with Liz. You're sassy. All right, we're going to plate it up nice. I need something that I don't touch that with. Now, if you'll notice on the brie, it's very soft. I'm going to take the little parchment paper and all, but if you'll notice, the brown sugar didn't melt, and that was supposed to be that way. You don't want it melting. I'm real, not sassy. I'm sure if anyone has not heard the story about how I got my stream name, it's from Liz as a teenager every single morning. What she told me when she'd come out of her bedroom. So I've got the brie. I've got the pecans and the caramelized honey with the cranberries in it. All we do now, yes, that parchment is there. Don't worry about it. It's going to just protect the brie when we open it. Look at this. Look at this. Little bit of cinnamon in here, a little bit of nutmeg. There was some orange juice in it. Now, I am coming to the Speakeasy channel, I think December 18th to do our stream giveaway draw. There's a possibility, if they're nice to me, that this will come. Yeah, my God, I know. Check this out on this camera. my God. You know, and the smell is divine. You can smell all the rich tones of the brown sugar. You can smell the cinnamon coming through, the toasted pecans. It's lovely. Now, let's crack it open. What should we see? We should see a really nice, just wow. This is just wow. So you should see the creaminess of the brie pour out. So I wish we could get closer. I really do. There we go. There we go.
Don't drop it.
I won't drop it. You ready? Look at the brie pour out.
Your brains.
So what you do is you take a baguette, you take some kind of, look at it coming out there. You take a baguette and you serve it around that, and you dip the pecans, the brie, the caramelized honey. This was all made with honey. So today we have the honey garlic chicken. Did somebody talking about the time zone? We are in Eastern Standard Time.
California's not.
I don't know California time difference between us, but I know that we are 1 hour earlier, or no, we're 1 hour earlier than Tennessee. Yeah. Thistle and Oak and I discovered that. Yeah, it's about 4 hours difference. Oh, okay. So yeah, we stream at 12 o'clock noon on every Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, that brings us to, you could even put a little cream on that if you wanted to go right to the top. I don't think this is my famous no hands cranberry pecan brie. Yeah, this is delicious. Now I gotta show you this side of it. This is starting to ooze out. It doesn't get any better than this, and even when this cools, you know, you could microwave. Sure, microwaving is not the fanciest way to heat food, but it is a quick way, and it is an efficient way. Okay, good. I know. I'm going to bring this for you when I come, Allison. So first of all, that brings us to the end of our stream. Today we made 2 dishes and a cocktail using the honey of Kawartha Lakes Honey. Their honey replicates sugar. So you heard in Jerry's video, he said one customer comes and gets 700 pounds of honey. I thought I was wrong and that it was 70 pounds. No, 700 pounds of honey is a year's supply. So honey can keep in your pantry for a year. And if it crystallizes, and you know, everybody in this chat has had honey crystallize, you know what to do. You put a little bit of, is my stage name. You put a little bit of honey into a little saucepan, you put the jar into it, and it'll come back to the smooth goodness. If you put it into the microwave for a few seconds, it'll come back. The crystals will melt, and you'll have the smooth, syrupy goodness again. Thank you to Kawartha Lakes Honey for bringing us onto their property and showing us all they know about honey and trusting us that we weren't going to disturb the bees. Nobody wanted to. Next week I am streaming from Whitewood's home in Amherstburg, Ontario. If you can make it there, if you're close to that region, call them today to get a ticket. If you're not in that region and you'd still like to be part of it, log on next Sunday at noon and you'll be part of it and we'll have a blast. So for now, keep cooking, keep nourishing yourself, keep nourishing those you love. But for now, this kitchen is closed.